The night my family decided I was expendable, the dishwasher was still running. That's the detail I remember most. The low mechanical churn under everything, plates being scrubbed clean while I was being quietly erased. I was standing by the window, half turned away from the table phone in my hand, just checking an email before dessert, something I shouldn't have done there. The light from the screen cut across my sleeve. My younger brother noticed first. "Whoa," he said. Not impressed, not surprised, possessive. "What's that number?" I didn't answer. I angled the phone down. He reached anyway. Not playful, not asking. He grabbed it. That was the first thing that snapped in me. He scrolled fast, too fast, like he'd been waiting for proof. "Well, damn," he said. "Guess it's official." My mother looked up from slicing pie. My father stopped chewing. The room shifted, subtly, like a stage light changing temperature. "Give it back," I said. He didn't. "You don't need to get tense," my mother said, her voice already defensive. "It's family. That word. It always came right before something was taken." My brother handed the phone to my father. "Like evidence." My father adjusted his glasses. Read. Nodded once. "Interesting," he said. "Not congratulations. Not pride. Assessment." So my brother continued leaning back in his chair. "We should talk about reallocating." I stared at him. "Reallocating what?" He smiled. "Sharp. Your excess." The dishwasher hummed. Someone laughed weakly at the table like they thought this was a joke they didn't understand yet. I set my phone on the counter. The click was soft. Final. "You're asking me to give you something that isn't yours," I said. He shrugged. "I'm saying you don't need all of it." My mother finally turned fully toward me. "You've always been fine," she said. "Some people struggle more." She didn't say his name. She didn't have to. I felt my jaw lock. "I've been sending him money for years," I said. "Every month. For health," she snapped. "Too quick. Don't twist this. I'm not twisting anything." My brother laughed. "There it is. The guilt trip." I looked at my father. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "You're the strong one," he said. "You can take a hit." That was the second thing that snapped in me. Before I go on, if you've ever had family treat you like you don't matter, like your effort is communal property and your boundaries are optional, pause with me for 1 second. Hit like, subscribe. Not because this story is entertaining, because stories like this only get told after someone survives them. My mother stood up, walked closer, took my arm. Her grip was tighter than it needed to be. "Don't embarrass us," she whispered. "Everyone's here." I looked around. They were watching, not intervening, just watching. My brother leaned in, voice low, sharp enough to cut glass. "Sign it over," he said. "Clean transfer. No drama." "No," I said. The word landed heavy. He blinked. "What no?" Silence cracked across the table. My mother's hand tightened on my sleeve. "Don't be difficult." There it was, the word they used when obedience failed. "You're being selfish," my brother said louder now, "after everything we've done for you." I laughed once, short, unplanned. "What have you done?" I asked. No one answered. My father finally spoke. "You wouldn't even be where you are without this family." That one hurt. Not because it was true, because it was the lie they'd rehearsed. I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. My brother straightened. "Okay? What?" "Okay," I repeated. "We're done for tonight." My mother scoffed. "You don't get to walk away with all of it." "I'm not walking away," I said. "I'm standing still." He didn't understand that yet. That was the third thing that snapped in me. I picked up my coat, fabric sliding smooth over my shoulders. No shaking, no tears. As I reached the door, my mother spoke again, louder this time. "For the room. Don't come crying when you realize family is all you have." I stopped, just for a second. The dishwasher clicked, finished its cycle. I turned back. "Family doesn't mean access," I said. "It means respect." Her face hardened. "You were never supposed to have more than the rest of us." That was the sentence. The one that didn't scream, didn't argue, just ended something. I opened the door and stepped into the cold. Behind me, the kitchen lights stayed on. The office lights were already on when I arrived. Too bright for 7 a.m., too honest. I didn't turn on music, didn't pour coffee. I hung my coat, sat down, and opened my laptop like I was about to perform surgery on my own life. Numbers first, feelings later. That's how I survived everything else. I wasn't about to change the method now. I pulled up the transfers. Monthly, automatic, clean, same amount, same description. Support. Health. 5 years. I stared at that label longer than I should have. The words felt flimsy now, like cheap tape over a crack in glass. I clicked into the first month, then the second. Then I started opening another window. Transactions on his end. I didn't expect anything dramatic right away. Lies rarely announce themselves. They hide in patterns. You have to sit still long enough to see them breathe. The first overlap made my fingers stop moving. Transfer sent 9:06 a.m. Charge posted 12:47 p.m. Luxury hotel. Downtown. 2 nights. I didn't react. I just wrote it down. Second month. Transfer 9:11 a.m. Charge same afternoon. Private driver. Airport pickup. 1 way. Third. Bottle service. 3 bottles. Tip higher than my rent used to be. I leaned back. The chair creaked softly under my weight. That sound felt louder than it should have. This wasn't coincidence. This was choreography. I kept going. Each month told the same story in a different font. Spa packages, weekend getaways, designer receipts with his initials stamped neatly at the bottom. All within hours of my money landing. That was the moment the anger arrived. Not loud, not explosive, cold. It settled behind my eyes and stayed there. I thought about every conversation where my mother sighed and said, "He's not doing well." Every message from my father about another appointment. Every time I sent the money without asking for proof because asking would have made me the villain. I closed my eyes for exactly 3 seconds. Then I opened another folder. Archived documents, old, forgotten, my grandfather's records. He'd been meticulous, almost obsessive. Every signature scanned, every amendment dated. He trusted paper more than people. Smart man. I scrolled until I found it. The clause, clear, unemotional, no sentiment attached. Responsibility, presence, time. It didn't mention love. It didn't mention blood. It mentioned behavior. I met every condition. My brother hadn't even tried. That realization didn't feel triumphant. It felt surgical. I highlighted the clause, copied it into a new document, saved it with a name that didn't lie. Evidence. A knock came at the door. 1 soft tap. My assistant stepped in, eyes scanning my face like she was checking for cracks. "You've been here a while," she said. I nodded. "You okay?" "I'm clear," I said. "That's better." She didn't push. She never did. I turned back to the screen. I lined up the months, side by side, my transfers on the left, his indulgences on the right. It looked obscene when you saw it all together. 5 years of restraint, 5 years of performance. I exported everything, PDFs, screenshots, timestamps intact, no commentary, no emotion, just facts. My phone buzzed, then buzzed again. I didn't look. Silence, when you choose it, becomes leverage. I canceled the standing transfer with 1 click. The confirmation message appeared. Green check mark, neutral font. It didn't congratulate me. It didn't warn me. It just confirmed reality had shifted. That was the quietest moment of the morning. Then my phone exploded. Missed call. Missed call. Message preview lighting up the screen. What did you do? Call me now. This isn't funny. I flipped the phone face down. Let them feel the drop. I opened a fresh document and started a timeline. Dates, amounts, locations. I didn't label him a liar. I didn't accuse. I let the math speak. By noon, the picture was complete. I stood up and walked to the window. Cars moved below like nothing had changed. People carrying coffee, laughing, living. They had no idea how fragile the stories inside families really were. My assistant came back in quietly. "They're calling reception," she said. "A lot." I nodded. "Route everything to voicemail security." "Not yet." I sat back down. 1 more check. I searched for medical invoices. Anything legitimate. Anything real. There were none. Not one. That absence said more than every receipt combined. My jaw tightened. I remembered my mother's hand gripping my sleeve, my father's voice calling me strong like it was an obligation, my brother's smile when he thought he'd won something he never earned. That was the fourth thing that hardened in me. I wasn't sad. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was precise. I backed everything up. 3 places. Encrypted, labeled. Then I sent one email. To my attorney. Subject line review. Needed. Confidential. No explanation. No emotion. He replied 10 minutes later. I'm free at 3. Bring everything. I closed my laptop. For the first time since last night, I exhaled fully. The truth didn't need volume. It didn't need permission. It just needed to be organized. My phone buzzed again. I finally turned it over. A single text from my mother. "You're hurting your brother." I stared at the words, then typed back. I stopped lying to protect him. I didn't wait for a response. I locked my screen. That was the moment the story stopped being about feelings and started being about facts. The first video went live before I finished my coffee. I didn't see it at first. I felt it. My phone started vibrating on the desk, not ringing, buzzing, again and again, like something trapped and desperate. I ignored it. I was reviewing the timeline, checking dates, making sure nothing could be twisted. Numbers don't forgive sloppiness. Then my assistant appeared in the doorway. She didn't knock. "You need to see this," she said. She held out her phone. My brother's face filled the screen. Close, carefully framed, neutral background. Soft light from the side like he'd watched a tutorial. His voice was low, controlled, almost shaking. "I never thought I'd have to do this," he said. "But when family turns on you, you don't have many options." Comments were already pouring in. Heart emojis, angry faces, people I'd never met calling me a monster. He looked down, then back at the camera. A practiced pause. My sister cut me off. Overnight. No warning. No conversation. He swallowed. "I'm not asking for sympathy," he said. "I'm asking for fairness." Fairness. That word again. Always used by people who'd already taken too much. I handed the phone back. How many views, I asked. My assistant checked. 42,000. It's climbing. I nodded. By noon it was everywhere. Clips stitched with commentary, strangers filling in blanks with their own anger. My name typed by people who didn't know my voice. The narrative was clean, simple, designed to travel. Successful sister, broken brother, cold betrayal. I didn't respond. Silence still felt like the right move. Then the call started. Reception buzzed, once, twice, then continuously. "They're downstairs," my assistant said. "All 3 of them." I stood up slowly. Outside my office window, the street was louder than usual. Phones raised. People gathering like they sensed something feral. My brother had learned a long time ago that if you couldn't win privately, you made it public. Security tried to stop them. Tried. The doors burst open. My brother walked in first, phone already up, lens pointed straight at me. "There she is," he said, voice loud, energized now. "The woman who says she loves family." My parents followed behind him like punctuation. My mother's eyes were wet, on purpose. My father's jaw was set angry in a way that always scared other people more than it scared me. Cameras rose instantly. Clients froze mid-conversation. Pens paused above paper. Someone gasped softly. I didn't move. That stillness rattled him. "Say it," he demanded, stepping closer. "Tell them why you did this." I didn't answer. He turned the camera toward the room. "Look at her," he said to his viewers. "Not even ashamed." My mother stepped forward. "How could you do this to us?" she cried, loud enough for the microphones. "We raised you." I felt it then. The old reflex, the urge to explain, to soften, to fix. I crushed it. "I'm asking you to leave," I said. That only made it worse. He laughed, sharp, triumphant. "You hear that?" he said to the phone. "She's calling security on her own family." The word family bounced off the walls. Security rushed in, radios crackling, hands up. "Sir, you need to lower the phone." My brother backed away just enough to keep filming. "They're silencing me," he said. Because the truth is inconvenient. Someone in the room started recording too. Horizontal, steady, better quality. I recognized one of my clients. His face had gone pale. "This is unacceptable," he muttered, gathering his papers. "We'll reschedule." Another followed, then another. Each exit felt like a small cut. My father stepped toward my desk, grabbed the nearest folder. Papers slid free. "This proves it," he shouted. "She's hiding assets." He tore the papers in half. The sound was ugly, wet. My mother sobbed harder, collapsing into a chair like it was rehearsed. My brother circled, narrating everything. "Look at what she's done to them," he said. "Money rots people." That sentence hit harder than anything else, not because it was true, because he believed it. Security finally took his arm. "Sir, outside. Now." He resisted just long enough for the cameras to catch it. "This isn't over," he shouted. "People deserve to know who you really are." They were pushed out, voices echoing down the hall, still filming, still feeding the machine. The door slammed shut. Silence rushed in. My assistant locked it. No one spoke for several seconds. The room looked wrecked. Papers on the floor. A chair overturned. Coffee spilled across polished wood. I sat down. My hands were steady. "That's going to spread," my assistant said quietly. "I know." By evening, it had exploded. Hashtags, boycott calls, people tagging my competitors. Someone posted my office address. Another shared my profile photo with captions I won't repeat. The comments were vicious in their certainty. "She thinks she's better than everyone. Blood matters more than money. Hope she loses everything." I watched it all without blinking. This was what panic looked like when it wore confidence. My phone rang. I didn't answer. It rang again. Voicemail filled. Then a text. "You're destroying us." I stared at it. Then another. "Call me now or this gets worse." I placed the phone face down. That was the moment it clicked. This wasn't about inheritance. It wasn't about fairness. It was about control slipping through his fingers. The louder he got, the smaller his position became. I opened my laptop again, pulled up the files. The numbers didn't care about hashtags. The documents didn't flinch at outrage. I forwarded everything to my attorney. One folder, clean, complete. Subject line, escalation, public. He replied 5 minutes later. "I see it. Do not engage. We'll respond with facts." I closed the laptop. Outside, I could still hear raised voices. Someone chanting my brother's name like he was a cause. I walked to the window, watched him below, pacing phone held high, explaining my life to strangers. For the first time, I felt something close to pity. Not enough to save him, just enough to understand him. I turned away. This wasn't the part where I defended myself. This was the part where he talked himself into a corner and didn't even realize the walls were already there. The lawsuit arrived on a Tuesday morning. No warning, no courtesy call, just a thick PDF attached to an email with a subject line that tried to sound neutral and failed. Notice of filing. I opened it slowly, not because I was afraid, because speed gives emotion room to slip in. 47 pages, accusations dressed up as legal language, words like undue influence, coercion, equitable redistribution repeated until they almost sounded real. My brother wanted half, not because he earned it, because he believed noise could substitute for standing. I didn't flinch. I forwarded the file to my attorney with one line. "They've escalated." His reply came back in under 3 minutes. "Come in. Now." His office was cold in that intentional way. Stone floors, glass walls, no softness anywhere. He didn't ask how I was. He asked, "Do you have everything?" "Yes." "Good." We didn't sit across from each other like people in movies. We sat side by side, screens open, documents spread out. Page 1 of the complaint accused me of manipulation. Page 3 suggested emotional pressure. Page 8 implied I'd isolated my grandfather. My attorney didn't react. He scrolled, marked, highlighted. "They always overreach," he said quietly. "It's how they tell on themselves." I slid the folder across the table. Bank statements, timestamps, receipts, 5 years of lies compressed into neat columns. He stopped scrolling. "Where did you get this?" he asked. "I paid attention," I said. That earned a small nod. We built the response the way surgeons work. No speeches, no righteous anger, just removal. First, standing. My brother had none. Second, timing. He'd accepted the arrangement for years without objection. That mattered. Third, intent. And this was where it collapsed. The video, the threats, the public demands. My attorney played the clip without sound, just my brother's face, his mouth forming words like, "Give it to me, and you owe me." "Extortion doesn't need volume," he said. "This is enough." We filed the response that afternoon. Not a denial, a counter, fraud, misrepresentation, defamation. Each claim supported by a document that didn't care how loudly anyone cried. The next morning, the court granted a temporary order. No public statements, no harassment, no contact. My phone stayed quiet for exactly 6 hours. Then the article dropped. A local reporter with a reputation for patience. Not flashy, not sympathetic, accurate. The headline didn't scream. It didn't need to. It laid out the timeline: money sent, money spent, videos posted, lawsuit filed, facts arranged like dominoes. The comments section changed tone within minutes. Confusion replaced outrage. Questions replaced certainty. People hate being wrong more than they hate being cruel. By noon, my brother's video was gone. By evening, his accounts were locked. He called me once. I didn't answer. The court hearing was scheduled for the following week. He showed up looking smaller than he ever had. Suit borrowed, tie crooked. My parents sat behind him. Quiet. No cameras this time. The judge didn't look at them. She looked at the file, at the numbers, at the dates. She didn't ask him how he felt. She asked why he waited 5 years to object. He stammered. She asked why his expenses matched my transfers within hours. He went quiet. She asked why he filmed his demands. He looked at the floor. The ruling was swift, dismissal, with prejudice. My attorney didn't smile. He didn't need to. Outside the courtroom, my mother tried one last time. She grabbed my sleeve. Her hand shook. "You didn't have to destroy him," she said. I looked down at her hand, then back at her face. "I didn't," I said. "I stopped protecting him." That was the 5th thing that snapped. And the last. The law didn't raise its voice, didn't cry, didn't beg anyone to understand. It just read what was written and moved on. I didn't go back to the house after the ruling. Not right away. Winning has a noise to it people don't talk about. A low ringing. Relief mixed with something heavier, like standing in a room after an argument has ended and realizing you still have to live there. The money stayed where it was, untouched, uncelebrated. For a week, I kept my routines small. Work, home, sleep, no interviews, no statements, no victory laps. Silence again. But this time, it wasn't a tactic. It was grief with better posture. My grandfather used to say that inheritance wasn't about wealth. It was about responsibility arriving late. I understood that now. I opened the file again one night. Not the lawsuit, not the bank statements, the older one, the scanned letters, his handwriting uneven near the end, notes in the margins, dates circled twice. He hadn't left me money. He'd left me a choice. I met with my attorney a week later. Same office, same glass walls. "I want to transfer it," I said. He didn't ask why. "To a foundation," I added. "In his name." That made him pause. "You're sure?" "Yes." We went over it carefully. Titles, deeds, compliance, every step documented, every risk contained, no emotion attached. The paperwork took longer than the fight ever did. When it was done, the number moved out of my name and into something quieter, something permanent. The press caught wind of it 2 days later. They called it generosity. They called it redemption. They were wrong. It was alignment. The foundation launched without a ceremony. No speeches, no donors lining up for photos. Just a website and a mission statement that didn't mention me at all. Education. First-generation students. Merit measured in consistency, not pedigree. Applications opened at midnight. By morning, the server crashed. I watched the numbers climb, not the dollars, the names, the stories. That was the first time I smiled in weeks. My mother tried to reach me after the announcement, left a voicemail, her voice softer now. "Careful. You've made your point," she said. "There's no need to punish anyone further." I deleted it. This wasn't punishment. Punishment requires intent. This was release. My brother never called again. I heard things through other people. Whispers dressed up as concern. Jobs lost. Doors closed. Friends suddenly busy. He told anyone who would listen that I'd ruined him. I believed him. Because ruin is what happens when the scaffolding of lies collapses and there's nothing underneath. I didn't hate him. That surprised me most. Hate takes energy. I was done feeding him. Months passed. The noise faded. New stories replaced ours. They always do. I walked past the building one afternoon where it had all exploded. Different security guard, different flowers in the lobby. No one recognized me. That felt right. On my desk at home, I keep one thing from before. A single page, framed, my grandfather's handwriting. One sentence, "Leave things better than you found them." I used to think that meant fixing people. It doesn't. It means choosing not to become what tried to break you. I don't speak to my family anymore, not out of bitterness, out of clarity. Blood is not a contract, loyalty is not silence, and love does not demand surrender. Sometimes winning isn't about what you keep, it's about what you refuse to carry forward. The money found a future. I found peace. And for the first time, those two things were not in conflict.